Thought we'd just sit and knit a little bit. I'm going to knit on my scrubby that I need to replace the one that's threadbare. And I do mean it's threadbare. You can see through it. So yeah, it's time to fix another one. I was out a little earlier working on the bamboo. Got kind of hot, so I decided to come inside and have some more water. And that's what I'm drinking today, is the water that I fixed for this afternoon, which is watermelon. It's refreshing. Now when I'm outside, lots of times I have some electrolyte drops that I can add into it. I do add the electrolytes into it because being outside in the heat and losing that, want to avoid coming inside and sitting here for a little bit, and then all of a sudden having muscle cramps. That's generally what happens to me the most. If I've been out working out in the sun, that kind of thing. Especially with that cutting of bamboo. Now I will tell you that little saw that I got, that is a life changer. Quite honestly, because I don't have to swing the machete. Don't have to wind up having hurt back, hurt shoulders, tired arms, all of that, because this just kind of glides right through a lot of that, making it a whole lot easier to get through. So I think it was a good choice and worth the cost of it. Even if I did have to go pay for the chainsaw oil separate. Sometimes reading is important, especially reading comprehension. Somehow I missed that it was not oil. It was just the oil bottle in that package. So that, I'm kind of giggling about that. Stuff happens. The robins, the babies are still flying back to the nest. I wish they would actually leave it so I could knock the nest down and get rid of it. And I will tell you, there have been times like when I've gone outside the front door, like to take photos or stuff. Like the other day, you could see the aurora borealis through your camera lens if you focus just right. Didn't have a whole lot of moonlight shining in that area. And so, I'd gone outside to do that. And of course, the birds were there. Then you hear them fly off because they get startled and take off. And it's kind of eerie at night to hear that flapping over your head. So I'm going to be glad when they've flown the coop and I can sweep the nest away. Yesterday, not yesterday, the other day, let's say it was Sunday afternoon, cats were out there just watching chipmunk mostly, although birds back there too, because I do have ground feeders that I put bird seed in for the birds to eat. So, but during that little bit of amount, we saw one of the mamas coming down with her little bitty fawn. I mean, it couldn't have been more than a day old, 2 days at most, because it was tiny. But she brought it down into the yard to feed. They still won't eat the bamboo. It's like this. There's plenty of it around there. You could fill up on it. They'll eat everything but that. But at least the bees are happy. Now that it's June, I can really get in there and cut it back and then spray some of it in some of the areas. Can't spray it down towards the corner of the road there because that's where my drain is, and the drain goes directly into the river system. And I really would hate to, I really would hate to, but not really, put it in there. So that will just be getting trimmed. And the one Roundup that is safe to use there, I mean, it kills it for a little bit, but it still comes back. Just takes it a little bit longer to grow back. So that has been what my day has consisted of, other than cutting earlier this morning. I'd cut a couple of the grocery bag holders, some of the different lighter colors. I will sew on those probably Wednesday afternoon. Have a doctor's appointment in Williamsport in the morning, which the gal, when we'd made the appointment, she'd said, well, I have an appointment at 8 o'clock, but most people don't want it, so I'll take it. She goes, really? I said, yeah, why not? Get here, get it over with. And by the time I get through out of here, I can run over to Hobby Lobby and look at some fabrics, see if they have any fabric. I don't know if it's on sale this week. Probably should look to see, right? So that has been the busyness of my day. But anyway, that's the plan for tomorrow. Get some of those done in between getting some other things cut and ready to go. So yeah, it's just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, working on things to get things done. And keep myself out of the bars at night or day or whatever, right? I know a lot of people have been talking about Joann's and the cryptic message that's on their website, something about they're stitching up something new or some nonsense like that. And a lot of people speculating that they're going to become an online store for fabric only. That initially was their whole thing, was just fabric. Seen a lot of people speculating that maybe Joann's and Hancock Fabrics will come in together and reopen a few of the stores. Rumors are all over the place, folks. The company that purchased them, Great American, I think it's Great American Group. They are mostly liquidators. They don't normally open stores. They generally, their business is closing stores, selling off items, that kind of thing. Now, they may wind up selling the website and, selling the rights to certain things. I think I'd read somewhere where Missouri Quilt Company had purchased the intellectual rights to their patterns. Some of the patterns projects that they had listed online for free. I think that's what I'd read somewhere. Don't quote me on that. I may be spreading rumors too. But it's interesting you know, to see what that's about. What are they up to? What do they got planned? Are they just, throwing people a curveball or what? Now, I will admit, I prefer being able to see and touch the fabric. And I'll tell you why. I have purchased fabric online before that I thought was absolutely beautiful, would have been perfect for bags, but then when you get it, it's such a thin, poor quality of fabric. You can't use it without using a lot of different interfacings to build it up and strengthen it. Or, some fabric that I felt would be okay for garments. But then when I got it, it was stiff or it was thicker than what I thought it would be. So it's not appropriate for garments. Been a lot of that. So it's nice to be able to sit and touch the fabric. And that is one of the things I like about the some of the fabric stores that are around me that are run by Mennonite or Amish or whatever. You can always get a good look at the fabric, touch it, that kind of thing. And there is a store that is probably about 15 minutes from me, but the fabric tends to be more dress fabric for Mennonite, those kind of things. Doesn't seem to be really adequate for sewing for bags or, what I would consider a garment. But a lot of Amish will wear those under, creating underclothes out of certain things, and Mennonites will make a lot of dresses out of that type of fabric. So, which they are gorgeous dresses, but just not something I would wear, And of course, when I do go shop at some of those Ammonite, Mennonite stores, I have to travel about 45 minutes away from me to do that. So, but it's not bad because I generally take a little detour through the thrift store there to see what's going on. I think they have a consignment shop and a thrift store in Mifflinburg that I like to stop at. Sometimes you get great deals in the thrift store. Generally, if it's the last day of the month or the last Saturday of the month, they'll have 50, I think everything you can fit in a bag for $5. So it's not a bad thing. And their thrift store prices, for the most part, are thrift store prices. It's not like, nowadays you go into Goodwill and goodness, their dress prices for dresses are now up to $8 something a piece. It's no longer thrift store prices. And some of the clothes, are a little bit outrageous. So generally I try to shop when they have their 99-cent sales, which are Sundays and Monday. They have a certain clothing tag. And these are just plastic tags, like blue, green, orange, pink, red. I don't know if they have white. But then if you pick up a piece of clothing that is either has one of those color tags on it, it's 99 cents, which isn't bad. So many times I'll go in there and pick up jeans or jean skirts that are in that color because I can make bags out of those. And often do that. Pick up t-shirts for the t-shirt ropes to make for Operation Christmas Child. Then generally just kind of like to look through and see. Usually they have a different color on those on Sunday that's 39¢, or whatever that color sticker is. It's generally a sticker because it's generally on home good items and, like pillows and sheet sets and things like that. Sometimes you can pick up something pretty good. Like I said, many times I will pick up sheets for practicing free motion quilting. And many times they have towels in there that you may not consider worth purchasing. But I consider for 39¢, it's not a bad price, even if that, towel is threadbare or whatever, because I can use that to sandwich in between the cotton sheets to practice quilting. That way I'm not using my batting for practice. I'm keeping the batting for projects. Because even cotton batting has gotten pretty high, and that's what I prefer to use. I do know a lot of people will use the polyester batting, and I have used it before. It's not bad, but most often I choose cotton batting, mainly because if you're using it in quilts, it's good year-round. It's good for winter, help keep you warm. It's good for the summer, so it doesn't get too hot. There are a lot of reasons you would use it. And of course, there are times I use the cotton batting in my bag making for certain bags, not a lot of the different tote bags and project bags that I sell. Those I usually use a woven interfacing since it bonds to the fabric and makes it a much stronger fabric. Plus, I like the way that it works up with it because it's still lightweight enough. I'm not having to charge it, extra for the extra batting, and you don't have to pay for extra shipping. So those are some pluses there. To that. But, yeah. Well, I see my battery is about to die, so let me stop this and I'll be back in just a second. Well, batteries changed, and while I was changing the battery, my purchase from TikTok shop came in, and this is meant to put around your furniture, to keep your cats from scratching up your furniture. And that's the one side. Here's the inside. Got a little bit of a grid telling you how to do whatever. And supposedly, this is supposed to, this silver shiny part, and I can't get it off of there. But supposedly, you're supposed to be able to peel that back and it sticks to your furniture. Of course, I can't figure out how to do that, so maybe my nails aren't sharp enough. Maybe I need to sharpen my nails like the cats do, right? But anyway, have any of you purchased anything off TikTok shop and thought, okay, how's that going to work? Sometimes I wonder. I did purchase that microphone for the cell phone, and it doesn't really work well, but it will work. You just have to make sure the lights are on and it's charged up and all that fun stuff properly. So, and I had purchased a remote for the for my cell phone for when I'm filming with the cell phone, and it's one of those that it supposedly has zoom feature. You can start filming, finish your filming, and then go to the next video to film after that and all that kind of stuff. Well, it does all of that, but it doesn't do it according to the instructions that came with the box. So I do find that interesting, but it's a lot of fun playing with it and getting used to it, seeing how it works, that kind of thing. Has a little bit of a time delay. It does allow me that if I need to take pictures, that I could set that up and use that with just the camera to take pictures, zoom in, even with the pictures on it. Kind of fun. So I purchased that to help with filming some of the things when I'm sewing, because there are positions that I can't get the camera, my big camera in, but I get my cell phone to where I could get it to where I could manage using it to film. You have no idea some of the things, some of the positions we put ourselves in when we are filming tutorials, those kind of things. I'm just saying. Sometimes it looks easier than what you're seeing. I know for a long time when I used the camera to film overhead, and I still do it quite often because I do like the way that it does. I would film it as I'm going along overhead, but the camera, when I was filming it, when you upload it to your computer or whatever, it's upside down, so you'd have to flip it around so it wouldn't be upside down. And it's just, sometimes it's funny, doing all these editing tricks with whatever you're working with. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun playing with some of these new gadgets and things like that. And like I said, this remote works well with the cell phone, so it's just that the instructions say this button does this button does that, and that's not what happens. That's the only thing. So I have figured out most of the buttons and what they do and don't do. So that is a bonus, right? And luckily this remote is rechargeable, so I don't have to purchase batteries. And I have had tripods for the cell phones that have had remotes with them, and the remotes are just, they're a waste of time, waste of money, waste of batteries, that kind of thing. So they don't work, that kind of thing. So sometimes you find something that works and you're like, yes, it's thrilling. But I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to get that backing off there to get it to stick to the furniture. Of course, that'll be one of those that on one of these chairs, they're constantly going at the chair. So that's why I got it. So I could put it around the edges of the chair. And I don't mind using the upholstery tacks there. That doesn't bother me at all. If I have to, I'll use that. But I was hoping it would, peel off and stick. Just got to figure out where I need to pull it off to peel and stick it. And it's one of these that you can cut it to size. Has the grid on the back for that. I have a cedar chest in my bedroom. That's mostly what I got that carpet for, was to protect it. Ronan, he has this thing about getting to that cedar chest and using it as a scratching post. Doesn't matter what I do, what I try, everything has failed. I even got that one that you put on the furniture that's sticky on one side that they don't like. He didn't care. He shredded it. So this is I guess, a last ditch effort for that. Try to protect it a little bit. I mean, I don't care that it has scratches in it, but I would like to protect it a little bit further from getting worse. From him digging a hole into it. Or just really going too deep. And I thought about one of these times when you see pallets that are out there for free, picking up a couple of pallets and making them a cat tree with it, but that's a lot of endeavor, a lot of work to do, so I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Might happen in the winter when I'm, in the fall and winter when I don't have to fight with the bamboo so much. But that's how it is now. I saw a video this morning that I thought, man, this guy was awful brave stepping in, doing what he did. This was with that fellow that had the Molotov cocktails, throwing them at people, setting them on fire at that Jewish march, which I have a lot of thoughts about that fellow. I think being drawn and quartered is not good enough treatment for him. Don't think it's torture enough, but what's really sad is the woman that escaped the Holocaust was set on fire with this. Can you imagine that? But then again, I also have a lot of issues with people yelling, Free Palestine, from the river to the sea, not understanding what from the river to the sea means. It actually means genocide of Jews. That's what you're calling for. Genocide of Jews. And there's a lot of young people that don't know that. I was talking with one young lady. She's in her late 20s, 30s. And we were talking about that, and she said, well, I agree, free Palestine, from the river to the seas. And I said, do you know what from the river to the seas means? And she said, yeah, it means that all the Palestinians need to be freed. I said, no, that's not what it means. It actually means genocide of all Jews that are in between the river and the sea. That's what you're calling for. And she said, no, surely not. I said, well, go do some research and find out. You'll see that's what it means. But then again, I look at it like this. Palestinians keep voting in terrorist groups to be their leaders. I mean, you reap what you sow. That's just true in life everywhere. You could call it karma, you could call it whatever you want. But a lot of these terrorist groups breed hate. But the video that I'd seen was this young man that had picked up a stick. I don't know whether it was a stick or part of a fence or what, but he took it and started beating that fellow up with it. And I'm thinking, good for him, he stepped up. He probably saved a few more people from being burned. But I know I've heard a lot of people, well, Jews just need to go back to where they came from. They came from Israel, people. It's where they originally were, before they were captured by the Egyptians and enslaved. And then when they became free through Moses, they went back to Israel. So they are where they came from. And if you don't want them to be there, where do you want them to be? So, just sad. So much hate. And I see there's a lot of craziness going on in our world today. And we have our 2 senators who went to Ukraine, and how are they not guilty of the Logan Act? I mean, senators don't have the right to make foreign policy. That is absolutely the office of the presidency. Gets to do that, and tariffs. So they're threatening Zelensky with all kinds of crazy tariffs and sanctions and things, and they may be able to put sanctions into place by voting them in. They don't get to make foreign policy. Fortunately, there are certain things that the executive power gets to do. And the executive branch gets to do that. So, I don't know. Do think the whole thing with the auto pen is going to be an interesting thing that comes up as it more and more that's being revealed. And I know one of the things I'd seen was there was someone had suggested that it was Elizabeth Warren that was behind the pen. I don't know about that. Now, she may have been sort of behind it in the way of telling staffers and Jill that it was perfectly okay to do it that way. That I might believe. But her actually being the auto pen, I don't know. What a way to commit suicide as a politician. But, yeah, just gets crazier and crazier. The things that we get to see. But, trying to figure out what the cats have gotten into. Heard something fall. I always hate going in to see what it is, because usually it involves a mess with these cats. That seems to be their big thing. Let's see what we can do to disrupt Mother's life. Make her crazy. I think I enjoy them best when they're sleeping on the bed and not into something. So, what are you working on today? Are you working on something for summer, or maybe a past project? My past project is I'm working on this to get it done. Then I will be working on my sweater to try to work on it and get it done a little bit, get a little more finished and ready to get the sleeves on. So then the next thing After the sleeves would be to work on the collar and the button band, and then it'll be done, finished with, and ready to wear. Ready for that. One of our local areas here, it's a group, it's Lamar Lighthouse Campground. Starting next Sunday, they have a concert series that's starting again. And in the past, it started like at 7 o'clock. This year, it's starting at 6, and I couldn't be more. I'm so glad it is starting at 6 now. They do a different concert series where they bring in different gospel groups to sing, that kind of thing. And it's always a lot of fun and interesting. Is that long enough? Yeah, that's big enough. So, this is about to be finished here in just a second. I'm ready to move on. I have been getting a lot of these text messages on my phone, and it really irritates me when I get them. They're these ones, they'll say UPS, blah, 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 click here for delivery information. And I know darn well I didn't have anything that's coming by UPS. So, of course, I just report it as junk, spam, whatever. But I had a couple that have been kind of like, what on earth is this? And they usually start with xbtru.com, then has numbers, then your address, and that's about all. I have no clue what that's about. Do I open the link? No. I don't trust these things. So I always just report them and delete them. Wondering if you guys are seeing a lot of that. The reason I ask is I know that many of us that purchase things online from, say, Joann's. Of course, we had to give them our information. They have our telephone numbers. And since I no longer have a landline, I had my cell phone number and the email so that when I ordered something online, they could let me know it was on the way, or I could pick it up if I was going into the store to pick it up. Well, that's things that when these stores go under, bankrupt or whatever, they are allowed to sell as an asset. So they get to sell your information. And they get to sell it many times. So I wonder if that's something that has already happened with Joann's. That's why all of a sudden seeing a lot of these different text messages that come. Who knows? But I really think that they should make it, there should be a law that they can't sell your information. That if they go out of business or whatever, if the company wants to sell your information, they have to send you a special notice that you can go in and say, yes, you may sell my information, or no, you can't. Of course, mine would always be no, you can't. But we don't get that option. It's just like I know our DMV here sells your information. And they're allowed to. It's one of the ways your state and local areas make money. Not something I like, but something, that just happens. We don't have a choice in it. But it is what it is, right, folks? Sometimes we put up with inconveniences for convenience. Anyway, that is my plan to work on that sweater to get it done. I would like to get it done within the next 2 weeks. And then move on to another project that has not been finished. In my project tote over there that the cats lay on and sleep on and sit on to look out the front door. So hopefully I can get that all finished up and taken care of and everything out of that tote over this next couple of months, as well as finish that tote that I've been in forever and have added things to. Well, my scrubbie is finished, with the exception of weaving in the ends. I can get that through there. There's my scrubbie. It's all finished. It's ready to be put to use. And here's another thing. These scrubbies are also great if you can tolerate it for exfoliating your skin in the shower. Just a little tip. All right, guys, I am going to let you go. I have that bamboo to get back to and to finish cutting some more of the the grocery bag holders, as well as a couple of bags that I wanted to get cut so I can get sewing on those. So I will see you again soon. Everybody have a great week. And remember, hydrate. It's really important, especially now that summer heat's coming. See you guys soon. Bye.